All right, tonight what we're going to be learning about is covalent compounds and how to name them. Overall, much easier to do than with ionic naming. The only thing now that becomes more confusing is that everybody always seems to want to do covalent naming for every single one because it's so easy. All right, so this should be a T. Covalent naming. So covalent, as we've talked about before, always starts with a nonmetal, is made up of two nonmetals. And the difference between covalent and ionic is that ionic has charges because there's a give and take of electrons. Covalent is pure sharing electrons, so there's no charges involved. So names, rules for name to formula. So how do we go from the name to the formula? The first name. Okay, what you want to do is check to see if the element is a nonmetal. Carbon is to the right of the staircase, so it's considered a nonmetal. Then you give the symbol and the amount on the prefix. So there is no prefix to this carbon right now, so you just do the amount of C. The second name, you give the symbol and the amount on the prefix. So the prefix for this one is di. So di means 2. And then oxide is oxygen, so you're going to do CO and then subscript of 2. Next one, xenon hexafluoride. So first check to see if the first element is a nonmetal. And xenon is a noble gas, so it is a nonmetal. Give that symbol and the amount on the prefix. There is no one on the prefix, so you would be looking for like those monos, these prefixes down here, which are tetra, penta, all that other stuff. And then the second name, give the symbol and the amount on the prefix. So hexa, if I look at hexa, hexa 6. Fluoride comes from fluorine, so that's F, and then we would have 6 as a subscript, so it's XeF6 for xenon hexafluoride. Dicarbon dichloride. So check to see if the first element is a nonmetal. Carbon is once again a nonmetal. Give the symbol and the amount on the prefix. So di is 2, so it would be C2 dichloride. So the second name, give the symbol and the amount on the prefix. Chloride is chlorine with a, so it's Cl, and di is 2. Unlike the charges one for ionic, you do not simplify. No simplification. So notice for this one, we have a 2 and a 2 subscript. We do not reduce that to 1 and 1. You want to give its true value, which is C2Cl2. Do not reduce. All right, next one, formula to name. So this is just the opposite. So check to see if the first element is a nonmetal. C is a nonmetal. It's to the right of the staircase. It's carbon. Name is seen on the periodic table. So C is carbon. Give the prefix if more than one. I only see an understood 1 right here, so I do not give a prefix. Okay. The second name, always give a prefix. So the right now there are 1 of them, so it's mono. Okay. First syllable of that element, which is ox. So it's mono because it's oxygen, so it's ox. And you don't do that OO back to back. So it's not mono-ox, it's monox. And then add an ide. So it's IDE. So that ide ending is the same as with the ionic. For that second element, you always add that ide ending. So you're talking with CO, it's carbon monoxide. Okay, CH4. Check to see if the first element is a nonmetal. It is. Name is seen on the periodic table, so we're talking about carbon. Give a prefix if more than 1. There's only 1 carbon, so we don't have to worry about that. The second one, you always give a prefix. So the prefix for this guy is 4, so it's tetra. And then first syllable of the element, it's hydrogen, so it's hydr. And then you add the ide, so it's hydride. So this is carbon tetrahydride. SO2, check to see if the first element is a nonmetal. It is. So we've got, I'm actually going to change this up a little bit. I'm going to make this S, let's say 4O2. Doesn't exist, but we're going to do it anyways. Okay, so check to see if the first element is a nonmetal. It is. Name is seen on the periodic table, so we're talking about sulfur. Give a prefix if more than 1. There's 4, I just changed it, so you're going to give a prefix of tetra. So it's tetrasulfur so far. Second name, always give a prefix, so we're talking about 2, so it's di. And then first syllable of the element plus ide, so we're talking about oxide. All right, so that's how you name covalent compounds. You will have to have these 10 prefixes memorized for the mono, di, tri, tetra, penta, hexa, hepta, octa, nona, deca. And you will have to have these steps memorized. But overall, covalent compounds, extremely easy to do. Have a great night.